Embrace your vulnerability. It's time to stroll down memory lane once more. Let's talk about the fond memories of childhood days. Some of my most cherished memories included my friends. I was always a bit of an extrovert, enjoying the company of others. Perhaps it now explains why one of my love languages is actually quality time. And I think I'm getting a bit off tangent now. So where were we? Aha, yes, we were talking about childhood days. I love reminiscing on the days where a group of us, maybe 10 to 12 kids, would walk home from school together. It was a 20 minutes walk that could easily turn into an hour or two. And we were just a bunch of kids having a jolly good time. If you were having a rough day at school, guaranteed your walk home would be a fun-filled adventure. It was never a dull stroll, always playing games, random stops in strangers' yards, or just stalling at each drop-off. Those were some priceless moments. I'll never forget how fond I was of a friend. It wasn't anything too serious, but I mustered up the guts to tell him right in front of our group. Risky, I know. I still question myself as to why I did that. Silly me. He was completely stunned, and I was pretty shocked at my audacity too. The words just slipped right out of my mouth. I like you. Embarrassed and speechless, his first reaction was to push me down in the middle of the road. The nerve of this kid. I can't recall if my 9-year-old self cried or not. However, I do remember how I felt and that I was triggered. Feeling quite low yet determined to never let this happen to me again. I felt so vulnerable, and thankfully my friends were right there to just swoop me up out of my despair. I shared this experience with a friend recently to give context that it's okay to be vulnerable. Your attitude in that state is what truly makes or breaks you. That story could have played out in a million different ways. I could have retaliated, cried my heart out, knowing myself I don't think I did that, but I just took my L and moved right along. In that moment in time, I began to slowly grasp the concept of self-worth. As I grew older and after many lessons, I realized that I ought not seek validation from others to justify how I feel about myself. I eventually learned how to be content, confident, and to affirm my worth. I wish I could have back to the future moments and just go back in time, but instead just reassure myself. It would have helped immensely and saved me from some heartache in attempts to trying to find that guy with a Boaz type energy, having lyrics like Solomon but loves like Christ. And I believe it's out there. I can only share my past experiences and use it to encourage others, especially those that are younger than I am. Don't worry, this isn't another feminist blog, as I know that having self-worth is equally important to both genders. Have you struggled with your self-worth before? Well, that's a silly question to ask. I'm sure you can agree that it can be such a drag. The lack thereof really can have damaging and long-lasting effects on our self-esteem. It's so important that we nourish our self-esteem with positivity and let it be habitual. To give context, obsess over the positives without being self-absorbed. Learn to accept compliments without feeling giddy. And practice self-worth and affirm yourself with the Word of God. When you truly discover your self-worth, you lose the desire to be around people who don't value you. I will be transparent with you. Even though I'm writing this, it doesn't mean that I have it all together. I have just used my past experiences as fuel to do and be better. I myself am still a work in progress with lots more lessons to learn. I can recall that there have been times when I was in a serious funk about people just not valuing me as a person, but I would never let the feelings consume me to the point of depression. We all hate being sad, the feeling of not being good enough or just simply questioning your worth. It is totally normal to not be okay. And it's hard to be strong all the time, but we should aim to not let the feeling get the best of us. Never allow negativity to dim your shine. My best advice is to use scriptures to help actualize your potential. You might be wondering, what is she talking about? The Bible is the best book out there. It is filled with so many gems and affirmations. Once you believe what you're reading, it makes a whirlwind of a difference. For example, she is a tree of life to those who take hold of her. Those who hold her fast will be blessed. And that's from Proverbs 3, verse 18. If you're struggling while reading this or perhaps listening to this, let me give you a picker-upper. Sorry, fellas, I gotta give my girls a pep talk. You are a virtuous woman. You're made in God's image, and that means you're beautiful inside and out. Love yourself as much as you crave acceptance and love from others. Do not indulge in self-sabotage. You have the power over your emotions. Believe that your mind has no space for negativity. You may feel tainted, but you are not discarded. You are not your mistakes. Allow God's love and grace to meet you right where you are. Restore your worth with self-encouragement and the Word of God. Manifest abundance, contentment, and positivity. My friend, your worth is far more than rubies or pearls.